Hello everyone and hello Dr. Crosby. My name is Jyoti Potluri and I am an elementary special education teacher. I teach a self-contained classroom with 8 wonderful and and third grade students who have autism spectrum disorder ASD level 1. My students are nonverbal or minimally verbal and they communicate using AAC devices, picture icons, visual schedules, and behavior cues. As I continued growing as an educator, my long term goal is to transition into teaching a middle grade education. Because of that, I'm always looking for strategies that help diverse learners build independence, confidence, and ownership of their own learning. For this reflection, I watched the TED Talk, The Opportunity Gap in US Public Education and How to Close It, presented by Dr. Anindya Kundu. His message focuses on the ideas that the biggest problem in American education is not an achievement gap, but an opportunity gap. Students from disadvantaged backgrounds often have the same potential as anyone else, but they lack access to supportive systems, stable environment, and strong networks. As I listen, I found myself thinking about my own students, my school community, and always teachers can help close these gaps through daily actions. Two quotes from the presentation stood out to me in powerful ways. The first quote is when Dr. Kundu says, agency is the ability to make choices and take action, but it does not develop in a vacuum. I choose this quote because it captures something I see every day in my classroom. My students want to learn, explore, and communicate, but they cannot build agency on their own. They need structure, modeling, and supportive adult who believe in them. This quote reminded me that agency is not something students magically develop. It grows when the teachers create environment where students feel safe, supported, and encouraged to try new things. My takeaway is that agency is a partnership. Students bring their strengths and teachers bring the structure that helps those strengths grow. The second quote that stood out to me is when Dr. Kundu says, we don't have an achievement gap, we have an opportunity gap. This quote hit me because it shifts responsibility away from blaming students and towards examining the systems around them. Many times, a society assumes that students who struggle simply don't try hard enough. But Dr. Kundu explains that students often face barriers outside of their control: poverty, unstable housing, lack of resources, or limited access to enrichment. This quote made me reflect on my own students. They are bright, curious, and capable, but they face communication barriers and sensory challenges that require a thoughtful support. My takeaway is that teachers must look beyond test, test scores and see the whole child. When we focus on opportunities instead of deficits, we create classroom where every student has a chance to succeed. Next, I want to connect this TED Talk to our course text, Owning It, specifically part 3, chapter 15 through 19. These chapters focus on school culture, collaboration, communication, and supporting colleagues. Even though the books are written for teachers and the TED Talks is about national education systems, the themes connected strongly. The first connection I noticed into chapter 15, Making Meetings an Hour to Empower. On page 118, Dr. Kundu talks about how students need supportive systems around them. Chapter 15 explains that teachers also need supportive systems, especially during meetings. When meetings are meaningful, collaborative, and focused on solutions, teachers feel empowered. This directly affects students because empowered teachers create empowered classrooms. Dr. Kundu's message about structure and support aligns with the book message that strong school systems help everyone succeed. The second connection is chapter 16, Welcome to Teaching. Please stay on page number 123. Dr. Kundu emphasizes that students thrive when they have mentors who believe in them. Chapter 16 explains that teachers about thrive when they have mentors who support them. New teachers often leave the profession because they feel overwhelmed or isolated. When teachers created a strong mentorship systems, teachers stay longer, grow faster, and build stronger relationships with students. This connection shows that closing opportunity gap is not just about helping students. It is about supporting teachers so they can stay and make a long-term impact. Another strong connection is to chapter 17, talking about my generation. On page 129, Dr. Kundu talks about how students need adults who understand their backgrounds and experiences. Chapter 17 explains that teachers also need to understand generational differences among colleagues. When teachers respect each other's experiences and work together, they create a stronger school culture. This teamwork directly benefits students because it creates a more stable and supportive environment. I also saw a connection to chapter 18, We Need to Talk, on page 137. Dr. Kundu explains that students need adults who communicate clearly and advocate for them. Chapter 18 focus on how teachers must communicate with each other, especially during conflict. When teachers handle disagreements respectfully and professionally, they model the kind of communication students needs to see. This connection reminded me that a closing opportunity gaps requires strong communication at every level between teachers, administrators, families, and students. Finally, I connected the TEDx talk to chapter 19, Turn Job Shares into Win-Win-Wins. On page 145, Dr. Kundu talks about how students succeed when adults collaborate and share responsibilities. Chapter 19 explains how teachers can share role effectively. When the teachers work together, plan together, and support each other, students benefit from consistent instruction and stable routines. This connection shows that collaboration is not just helpful, it is essential for closing opportunity gaps. After reflecting on these connections, I began thinking about how I can implement these ideas from the TED Talks in my own classroom. One strategy I want to use is to build more structured opportunities for agency. Even though my students are nonverbal, they can still make choices and take action. I can create more visual choice boards, more student led routines, and more opportunities for them to guide their own learning. For example, during morning routines, I can let a student choose the order of activities using their AAC device. During science lesson, I can let students choose which materials to explore first. These small choices help build agency in a way that feels safe and supported. Another strategy I want to use is a strengthening collaboration with colleagues. especially related to chapter 15 to 19. If I want my students to have more opportunities, I need to work closely with general education teachers, speech therapists, and paraprofessionals. I can share data, ask for input, and create a consistent routines across settings. This teamwork helps create a stable environment where my students feel supported no matter where they are in a school. I also want to focus on building relationships with families, which connects to the idea of closing opportunity gaps. Many families of students with disabilities face barriers such as language differences, transportation issues, or limited access to resources. I can help close these gaps by offering flexible communication options, sending home simple visuals, and celebrating small success. When families feel included, students feel more supported. Now, I want to share one part of the TED talk that I do not fully agree with. Dr. Kundu emphasizes the importance of a student agency and resilience, which I strongly support. However, he sometimes speaks as if agency can grow naturally when the students are simply encouraged to try harder or push through challenges. In my experience as a special education teacher, agency does not grow naturally for all students. Many of my students face communication barriers, sensory challenges, and processing delays that makes independent problem solving extremely difficult. They cannot simply push through without strong adult support. This is where I disagree slightly with the speaker. I believe agency must be taught, not assumed. Students with disabilities need structured routines, visual supports, and consistent modeling before they can take independent action. This aligns with Owning It, chapter 18, which emphasizes the importance of clear communication and strong support systems. My experience tells me that resilience grows when students feel safe, not when they are pushed to be independent too quickly. In closing, these TED Talks helped me reflect deeply on the opportunity gaps that exist in our schools and how teachers can help close them. By connecting Dr. Kundu's ideas to Owning It Part 3, I realized that strong school systems, supportive colleagues, and clear communications are essential for students' success. I am excited to bring these ideas into my classroom and continue growing as an educator. Thank you for listening to my reflection, Dr. Crosby. I look forward to continue our work together this summer. Thank you so much.